I want to open with a quote from Lila Watson. If you have come to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because my liberation is bound up with yours, then let us work together. Our struggles are interconnected, and in honor of St. Patrick's Day, I want to emphasize the interconnectedness of global struggles for liberation. While they're not identical struggles, Ireland is an ally in this struggle because they recognize what genocide looks like. They too have been starved, murdered, targeted with relentless state violence. They too have been jailed and oppressed for speaking out and defending themselves against imperialism. As I speak, Palestinians are still being murdered at the hands of Israeli soldiers. Humanitarian aid is still blockaded by imperial colonizers. Dozens of healthcare workers are still jailed for the crime of caring for their patients. Shame! A genocide is happening. Not only must we stand up for Palestine and for Mahmoud because it is a human rights issue, we must stand with them because our own liberation is bound up with theirs. What is happening to Mahmoud is part of the fascist handbook. We've seen this play out over and over again throughout history. The status quo targets individuals in an effort to discourage dissent and sow fear among protesters. We cannot let this happen. We must make it clear that when they target one of us, we will all defend each other. We will continue to fight for the liberation of ourselves and our siblings at home and abroad. Our struggles are interconnected. And we're going to ask you to use this script. Find the solidarity and the comfort. We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
Money for jobs and education!
Money for jobs and education!
Not for war and deportation!
Not for war and deportation!
Money for jobs and education!
Money for jobs and education!
Not for war and deportation!
Not for war and deportation!
Money for jobs and a member from Hamden who's here with us today.
All right, how we doing? All right, my name is Abdul Osmanu. I serve on the Hamden Legislative Council. I'm also a member of DSA, the Muslim Justice Center, as well as Maruf, which is more or less a 501c4 that advocates for getting Muslims involved and empowered in politics. We stand here this afternoon as we state clear in dissent, and more importantly in defiance to recent attacks on the Palestinian Solidarity Movement. These attacks will continue but we will stand unafraid of this authoritarian fascist regime we find ourselves under. That is not only the crime to kidnap people in broad daylight, kidnap our comrades, but utilize the same terrorizing strategies used by immigration forces, used by the Israeli government, used by all the exact same things that we find ourselves standing here in unison fighting against today. And this all happens, this full-scale dictatorial assault on the few civil liberties that remain happens because they wish to leave us in a state of shock, in a state of despair, in a state of fear. But I have one question for y'all. Are you in fear?
No!
Are you scared?
No!
Are you scared of the fascist state?
No!
Damn right. Because that's all they're about. This is an assault that is stated in trying to leave us in a state of shock. They don't want to see us moving. They don't want to see us shaking. They don't want to see us breaking the walls down that have held us from solidarity for so long, because that is what this system does. And that's what scares them so much about our movements. That's why they show no fear in snatching our freedom fighters in broad daylight. That's why they show no fear attacking our undocumented siblings. That's why they show no fear legislating against our queer siblings. That's why they show no fear legislating against our unhoused siblings. So that's why we scream, free Mahmoud, free Laka. We shout in solidarity with the Columbia grads that are having their degrees revoked as we scream, free all political prisoners of the state. We scream, free all oppressed people of the world as we stare down our own authoritarian state. We say, down with the rogue authoritarian immigration authorities, and say to them in defiance and protection of our siblings and all the folks around us, we don't care. We are here to fight for our people. And I would be remiss to talk about how this oppression is supported by both authoritarian apologist wings of both major parties here in America. The oppression and repression is going on at the federal level. It's going on at the state level. And it's going on at the local level. The spineless liberal joke of an opposition that told you that they were going to stand in support of your rights has left you. But is anyone surprised here?
No!
Are y'all surprised?
No!
Are y'all surprised?
No!
And by the way, in terms of some of the state oppression that actually has been proposed, there was a bill that was proposed at the state level that would have sought to criminalize many of the same student encampment movements that we saw last year. Shame. But you know what we did as a group, as a coalition? We reached out to our student organizers, we reached out to our affected community members and our freedom fighters, and what did we do? We turned out and showed up in force, and what I can tell you right now and today is that bill is dead. We got on it, we fought, and we won, and that is exactly what we are going to continue to do. We're going to do that in the legislative halls, we're going to do that in the streets, we're going to do that in our workplaces, and every single place that there is to be, because liberation is to be won in every single corner. Because the struggle of the person next to you is your struggle, because if they are not coming for you right now, they will come for you later. So that is why we are here today, that is why we fight, that is why we are going to win, and that's why we are going to win the freedom of Mahmoud, Laka, Palestine, and all oppressed people of this world. Thank you.
They keep hitting us with thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, thinking we're going to get tired and thinking we're going to back down, right? Are we going to do that? My name is Khalil. I organize with Transhaven, Connecticut. And a lot of the time in the LGBTQ plus community, people with specific lived experiences, or lack thereof, will be like, why are you coming out for Gaza? Why are you coming out for Palestine? This doesn't affect you, right? You hear the divisive narratives from the liberals and from the conservatives. You hear the divisive narratives of those people don't want you to be alive. Those people would throw you off a building. But the truth is trans people, specifically trans people of color in this country, and Palestinian people in Palestine, have been at the forefronts of some of the most militant and principled struggles in the world. And now is the time when we are both being called fraudulent, when we are both being called deceptive, when we are both being called dangerous and terroristic. When I, as a trans Muslim immigrant, need to stand up and say, all communities need to rise up in solidarity. Because the system and the people that profit from our death, that profit from our suffering, that profit from our torture, that profit from our abduction, that profit from our dehumanization, thrive and survive only because we're divided. When we stand together and when we see the connections in our communities, that is when they begin to tremble in their boots, the way they want us to tremble. So eyes on the prize. Do not let them divide you. Do not let you believe for a minute that your eye needs to be turned towards your your neighbor. Your eye always needs to be on your oppressor. And that is something we're going to be learning throughout this movement. So unabashedly, I stand with Mahmoud. Unabashedly, I stand with Rika. I stand with every single person abducted by ICE in this administration, in the last administration, in the administration before it, because this is not new. This is not new. None of this is new. They think they can push new boundaries with us. Are we gonna let them? Are we gonna get tired? Are we gonna lean on each other?
Our last speaker for now, Esther from the New Haven chapter of Jewish Voice for Peace and Mending Minyan.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Esther, and I'm here representing Mending Minyan and Jewish Voice for Peace New Haven to join the call to free Mahmoud Khalil. Mending Minyan is a lay-led shul of Jews and Friends of Jews in New Haven. We practice a joy-based Jewish ritual decoupled from Zionism. We are building radical Jewish practices to support struggles against white supremacy, fascism, capitalism, and colonization. Our ritual fills us with strength and introspection to fight for freedom, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, for all who dwell on earth. Likewise, at Jewish Voice for Peace, we envision a world where all people, from the U.S. to Palestine, live in freedom, justice, equality, and dignity. We organize with accountability to our Palestinian partners and commitment to racial justice and collective liberation. As a New Havener, it has been an honor and an inspiration to organize with students from universities across the state, and I have been horrified by the repression, police violence, surveillance, harassment, and punishment of Palestinian student leaders and all students speaking out and organizing for free Palestine on campuses here in Connecticut. Just last week, organizers from around the state testified in overwhelming opposition to Bill SB 980, a bill that sought to expand repression and policing on campuses. Boo! The detention of Mahmoud Khalil by the Trump regime is further proof that we are on the brink of a full takeover by a repressive, authoritarian regime. This is what fascist dictators have done for centuries as they solidify control. We are gathering here today as people of conscience to take bold action to resist state violence and repression and hold fiercely to our commitment to Palestinian freedom. And we know this is just the beginning. Next, Trump will be targeting those who speak out to defend trans rights, environmental justice, racial justice, economic justice. The only way forward is to be united against the far right and understand that our liberation is bound up together. In the words of songwriter Karen Shevovich, taught to me by radical Rabbi Meir, listen, my people, our voices and our bodies are one. Lifting our voices together, we know that our work has just begun. Free Mahmoud! Free Mahmoud! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Thank you.
Get up! Get down! We're anti-war in this town! Get